Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, as James said, I'm participating in a couple of initiatives, and what I try to achieve, as you see here, is to connect the technical world and the financial one, because SBA is an alliance of certification, REVA is dedicated to technical HVAC federation, and Finance Initiative is the program for the United Nations for Environmental Program dedicated to finance and investment. So, for Sustainable Building Alliance, we spoke already of carbon metrics. I will skip that. You all know about it, the 6 metrics, which is what is the greenhouse gas emission, waste, water, and the climate, indoor climate of a building. So this work is done, as Josephina said. We don't need to go further with that. What is also very important is, from the financial side, is the RICS has made a great move forward, because in the new guidebook, which is from this year, you have a real big step ahead, which says that every valuer has to ask for sustainability information, right? So today, if you are an investor, it's not only that you will produce data for your benchmark, as it is, but it was presented by Piet on the GRESB. It's also that you need to give it to your valuer, because they will input this information into the quality of your building. I know that it's not yet in the mind of every valuer in Europe, but it's in the guidebook. And according our guidance as a valuer, we have to apply the guidebook. It will take a certain time, but we will ask for every owner this kind of information. But again, this is really an important article arise. What also clearly happens when we make the work at the United Nations Environmental Program for the Finance Initiative, and you can download the report if you are interested in, that this shift in the value to valuer's mind has already happened. They don't say it because there is no standardized process or to implement sustainable information into the valuation process. So they use the information and they shift the information, they put the information, they pick it up in the different place of a discounted cash flow, premium risk, capitalization rate, wherever it is. So they do it as they think it could be done. So the work we will achieve now in the year 2015, in the joint work with the Sustainable Building Alliance and the RICS, is to propose a standardized methodology or to implement the technical sustainable information into evaluation process in a DCF. We also see that what is missing, and this is the Energy Efficiency Financial Initiative group that was set up by the European Commission and the UNEP-FI initiative, is what we need. We need standardization. But what does it mean for a financial investor? It means trust. I need to trust the information. And as Miles, you said, if I have a Class E a building which is more efficient than a Class A, there is a point. I can't trust. So I need that the technical people give me the trust. So the first step was the certification, and then I need to trust, after the certification, I need to trust what I need to know as a customer in trust in the information. Is my running costs are really lower? Is the efficiencies of the energy consumption is really lower? And so on and so on. So as for now, we see clearly that we have this loop of a building, we have a design construction, I don't have to go through, and there is various certification tools to use that. These certification tools are based on norms and standards of calculation that are done by the European certification bodies, and we have it. So we don't need to use anything else. So we just need to know if these standards are applied in the calculation methodology. Because if you know that you want to achieve a zero energy building, I can tell you that even with the open door, I can calculate this building as a zero energy. Just need to change the hypothesis. If building is empty, for instance. Well, we see clearly that we also to work more on the list of components, because clearly there is a lack of information or translation of information between the industry makers that have a lot of information about the quality of components, and at the end, the investor who doesn't know anything about how to translate the quality of a component into the building quality. So what do I ask as an investor? What is the price? And I buy the lowest cost. I don't care because they can't translate the performance into something that I can put into my financial models, so I buy just the lowest cost and the cheapest. I don't care about the quality as an investor. I just care about the cost. So we have to move from that and to implement the quality into the calculation of a building. So the first step was information, data collection. As we have said in the report that you can download at the UNEP-FI property working group with the metrics, the data are there. It's just that it's not collected at all. The data are lost in different places, and instead of doing what we expected to be done in the World Green Building Council report that Miles already mentioned that we released last year, and I was in the steering committee. Instead of that, we have a huge perception gap. It means that the people just believe in some figures that are in the air, but they are not looking at all at the real figures. And this is, for instance, the perception gap between what is the cost of a green building and what is the real cost of a green building. And you see, it's huge. It's huge. It's the double of what it is really, according to the calculation that we had in 2012, 2013, when we made this report. So this is the first problem. We have to speak to the people who are doing this business and tell them, forget about your mythology, that green is much more expensive. Forget about this myth and speak about the real question, what is the cost of a real green performing building? So we need to have a huge problem of data collection because the data, as it was said, is there. It can be used technically to certify the building, but nobody has thought about how can we use it for valuers into the financial performance. So as I said, this is really the driver that I put a second time because I want you to have it in mind this morning that the valuation profession will really change the way of asking what is the quality of a building. No more due diligence process with a lot of pictures, 200 pages saying, your building is good. No, they will have to show off that the building is really technically good and in accordance with the standards. Because what the valuer will do, if I have as a valuer to ask for environmental properties of a building, I will not ask you, give me some information. I will go back to my standards because as a valuer, I have to be back up with something. And what is my backup? European standards and norms. So I will ask you, according to the European standards and norms, what is the indoor quality of your building? And you will say, what is the indoor quality of your building? What do we say? You don't know. Maybe something, yeah, it's good that I have some nice lightings in the building, it should be good. Yeah, the temperature is really great. We are feeling good here. No, that you can forget about that. You have to stick with real performance now. And we also have to face this problem, which is really the disruption of flow of information between the different stakeholders. So I think that the certification schemes have a role to play there to really organize the flow of information between the designers at the first step and the in-use in order to not losing. And I want also to emphasize here an initiative of the DG Enterprise about the building information modeling, which is really the capacity to use the new information process into the standardization of interoperable information in the information we can have from a building. And this will really solve the complexity, because I don't care in the building information model about the complexity. It's just organized so I can pick up the information I want whenever I want. Even if in some building information models I have more than 100,000 information inside. Even 1 million, who cares? That works. So this is how to solve this problem that for the moment we have solved in the totally opposite way. In order to solve this problem, instead of managing complexity, we have just simplifying the world. That doesn't fit, because if you simplify stuff, you can make mistake and also you can lose your point. And you lose a lot of certainty. So if I want to go further now in certification, As an investor, I know exactly which certification I will use because I know how to play with the different weightings of a system, right? So if I'm not very happy, not very keen with my life cycle assessment, I will never choose the DGNB because the DGNB German assessment is half based on the life cycle. So if I prefer to work with other items, and I can tell you that every investor, when they ask for any certification, they just look at that and choose the certification according to the weightings of the certification. And then they decide to do this one or this one because it's less costly and less disruptive into the design process. So the problem is now to move forward for the certification scheme as it is now to something which is a brand, as you said before. Clearly it's a brand that the people want. To something that is more translation about the real performance. And what we have shown in the Sustainable Building Alliance last report, that all the rating tools are converging because they use the same standardized methodologies. So this is a good news. You can use whatever of a 200 different certification scheme. It's the same standardized calculation at the bottom. What is changing is the weighting. So the people will learn to know that if you have this certification A or B, the weighting is different, so you can see where the investor has put his emphasis on the project. So you see that first we need a third-party certified data because it must be scientifically based data, and this is what the valuers will ask for. It must be based on standard, it must be applicable to every building and to real performance, and it must be embedded in property valuation. This is what we need to achieve. If I can't take my certification into my valuation process, it doesn't work. So clearly we have to move forward from what the effective green value is. It's not only the building, it's the building multiplied by the operation and by the use. So I need to know the sensitivity of a building to the use. It's not only what is the quality of a building at the beginning. So valuable information, it's data collection that must go through this challenge of translation into a financial process. And this is what we need to achieve, so we need to know what is the uncertainty of the technical information. I will go with that. We can know how to translate the value now. And if I use the market value drivers, I need to work with these drivers. So I need to work with financial regulation, IFRS, and from this side, connect it to my valuation. And this is what we use in our day-to-day business. This is a discounted cash flow methodology where we can apply the sustainability of a building. This is what the valuers are doing now in an empiric way. And this is what we want if we do it for HVAC, for instance, or we can apply it in a specific position of a DCF and use it transparently between the valuer, the owner, and the market. And if we do it with this theoretical model, as it was said, I will not work anymore about the energy savings because nobody cares about energy savings, it's too low. It could be done first when you have bad buildings, you have a good saving at the beginning, but after that, if you want to go deeper and go and achieve zero energy buildings, you have to work on valuation process. And this model what can achieve, but clearly a sustainable building can have, and we are going to your survey with you, Pete, but it's really the way how to go from the survey that shows from the past that there is an increasing value and we can put it into the model for the future. So we move from something which is quietly static to a dynamic vision of a building and what is the effect on the building. And we need first to assess obsolescence because this is the bigger challenge for buildings in Europe. Because if we speak about new buildings, this is only 1% per year of new buildings. We need to assess the existing building and to work on the performance of existing building. Otherwise, we will not have green value at all. We will have a huge fall into the obsolescence gap. So we need really to work from data collection and benchmarking to something where each company will use the information into their day-to-day process. So if I just do benchmark, I will do that. Every year, I will collect my data, and I will spend $500,000 to collect my data and show off into the market on benchmarking, oh, great I am, and I am maybe among the best. Well, great. But the next step is to go up and to use the data in a value creation strategy, as you showed off. I need to know if the company has really a strategy on value creation. And if I do so, I see clearly that must be companies that work on dynamic data management with a progress plan, implementation of retrofit. And if I do this example in energy, for instance, I see that it's a company that has to look in the 4 blocks of energy: operational, plugged appliances, embodied energy, mobility. And if I take just for your information, it's a week ago. This is the Finnish Green Building Council approach. You should know them, I think. And they're a very, very simple way of thinking. Economically, life cycle cost based on European standards. Energy, calculation based on European standards. Global warming, European standards. And occupancy. We have European standards on indoor quality. And at the end of the day, it gives you a building passport like that, where you have, in one slide, a global vision about what is the energy performance linked to the quality of a building. Because on the top, you have that, which is designed indoor climate class, according to the European norms, and the measure satisfaction. So you have something which is coming and showing clearly what is the quality of a building between the design building and the real performance building. So you can then manage very clearly the uncertainty. There is work, because the first uncertainty is the floor area. You certainly know that in Europe, between the different definition, you have 20% difference in square meters. So this is the first uncertainty that we are living with, and there is no problem with that. Nobody is saying to the technical people, you are bad because there is 20% uncertainty in the square meters. We live with that. So this is where we have to manage the uncertainty with that. And that works. It could be used like that. So for us, as a financial people, we need clear transparency about the information in order for us to manage the uncertainty of information that we are used to live with. This is our day business, to work with uncertainty, and we don't like technical people who will say to us, this building is 52 kilowatt per square meter per year, because we know it's wrong and it's not true. We need to know about the sensitivity of a building according to the climate impact and the use of a building inside. Some buildings are more sensitive than others. And we need to know about the life cycle assessment. So if I do it like this, you can have a look on the Japanese Caisse model. If you are interested in, you can download this model where they have a process to calculate the quality of a building. It's quite an interesting one. And what is very interesting with them, and we are working with a Japanese model at the UN level, that they have a direct model to implement the technical quality into the financial scheme. So they can connect directly the technical performance and sustainable performance into the financial scheme. And this is, I think, something that we should think about, because it will really be a great added value of a European certification. So we need to take action, and this is from the metrics report with a United program. Clearly, this is what we clearly know, that the financial people are very simple people. They think about security, liquidity, return. Nothing more. Life and the world is only based on that. Security, liquidity, return. 3 things. So within these 3 things, we have to implement, sorry for the colors, it's not very good too. We have to implement the technical and sustainable performance of a building, because it has an impact on the 3 items: security, liquidity, return. So we have proposed a corporate real estate sustainable management scheme with a double approach on this. And as a conclusion, I propose to you that the next certification could be thinking about the level of performance, the quantity of information that I have from the backup. The valuers can say, I have 0 information or a lot of information. The level of details of information, the level of liability. Is it calculated according standards that everybody knows about? The level of confidence, was it checked by someone? Or just the real estate company saying, I am the best? What is the sensitivity about this information into the asset value. If there is a risk of obsolescence, Miles, you showed it. I think as an investor, when I invest in a fund or a property fund, I need to know what is the sensitivity of this building. And this is what I will ask to all my consultancy firms now. And this is what I propose to you to think about, what the financial world is thinking about. And just to give you a simple image, when a bank is giving you a loan to buy your flat, they send you to check what is your health level, because they want to know if you will be in capacity to pay back. As an investor, when I buy a building, I want to know what is the health of a building, because I want to know if a building has the capacity to pay back my investment. Very easy. Thank you very much.